Well, I had a whole list of things to talk about today on our video for our Friday video about family minimalism. And the more I looked at it, the less I wanted to make that video. Today, we're going to talk about the reason I didn't, and that reason is decision fatigue. Let's dive in. Well, hello friend, I'm Mary Beth with At What Cost, where we are learning to apply God's truths to our everyday lives. And on Fridays, we do that with a video on family minimalism. Well, if you have found this video, I'm guessing that you are suffering from decision fatigue, or maybe you're trying to figure out if you are. Either way, we're not going to have any extra words. We're just going to cut right to the chase. You probably are familiar with this term. It's been floating around for a while now, and basically it is this idea or this feeling of just being completely burned out because you have had to make so many decisions. And we may think that this is from major life decisions. Maybe you get a new job, or you want to buy a new car, buy a new house, sell a house, have another child. A lot of decisions can kind of stress us out and wear us down. Decision fatigue, on the other hand, really can come into play when we have made a series of smaller decisions, maybe even not completely consciously made those decisions, but we've made enough of them over and over that it has kind of depleted our ability to keep pressing forward. We are quite literally fatigued. If you are in the active decluttering phase, going through lots of items on a regular basis, even though you may feel motivated, by the time you get to the end of a decluttering session, or you may be approaching the next decluttering session, you have already likely made many decisions. Or maybe it's just in the course of the day and you have a lot on your plate. There are several activities happening, you're planning out your day, but you're also making decisions along the way. Answering those questions quite literally takes an act of decision on our part. And eventually we can become overwhelmed and be ready to check out. I mentioned earlier that I was dreading making a video today about the list of things that I wanted to talk about. And most of it was very much decluttering, organizing, cleaning, all of the typical content that you find on this channel. But as I was going through the motions of writing down the key points that I wanted to talk about and even filming some of the things that you will see in the video, I just started to dread the task more and more and more. And as I sat there listing out all of the things that I felt like I needed to accomplish, plan, make happen, support, encourage, whatever it may be, the to-do list felt a mile long. And sometimes I very much feel motivated to just dig in and conquer it and get it done with, and I know that I can do it, and I'm super motivated to do it. And today was just not that day. What I ended up doing was calling it quits, taking a very long hot bath, when I decided that the issue was not all of the things that had to be done, but all of the things that I had done. Over the past few weeks, we have had just a very stressful time in general in our household, like many parents are experiencing. Kids are home more often. A lot of people are working from home. We're trying to make decisions about the future. There's a lot of uncertainty in things. And just in general, tension seems to be pretty high lately. But on top of all of that, I'm also deciding exactly what time do I need to get up in the morning, because I have all these things I need to accomplish. Which of those things do I actually need to do? What about this or what about that? How do I do this? What do the kids need for snack? Do I want to put cream in my coffee? Have I thought about intermittent fasting? There are a million things that can run through my mind as I am preparing for the day, and that's just in the first hour. If I continue in that manner, just making decision after decision after decision, I'm eventually going to deplete my capacity to make those decisions, which is where I found myself the other night. Everyone had gone to bed. It was very late. I needed to be in bed, but I was not. So you may be asking, what were you doing? Surely it was something incredibly proactive to help you for the next day, because of course I have talked about doing those things many times, which I wholeheartedly believe in. Don't get me wrong. But I found myself scrolling and scrolling and scrolling through social media, and I stumbled upon something that really resonated with me until I realized it was for all of the wrong reasons. So this is a post from Amy Weatherly on Facebook, and I really enjoy her content. It can be incredibly encouraging. And initially, when I read this post, I really was encouraged. So essentially, she is putting up a prayer, and it was about the time that I was scrolling through, and it just hit me in the gut so hard. And so I want to read a portion of it for you, and then I want to talk about the mind shift that I had as I read through that. And oftentimes, I think this is what prayer can do for us. So this is again a prayer. So she starts out, "Dear God, give my friend some rest." Considering it was 11 o'clock at night, I was longing for rest and just could not sleep. She's exhausted, pretty much. She's been running around trying to be everything to everyone. She does so much. She's so good. Every inch of her, from the top of her messy bun to the bottom of her toes that haven't had a pedicure in a while, is good. I'm camera ready today. It doesn't always look like this, friends. But I know she's tired. I know she's maxed out. I know she's restless. I know she's going from the second her feet hit the hardwood floor to long after everyone else is asleep. Yeah, pretty much everybody was asleep in my house at that point. And it's not even just that she does so much, it's that she thinks so much. She carries everyone's schedules, check. She listens to everyone's problems, most of the time. She heals hearts and mends wounds and offers her shoulder to anyone who needs a soft place to lean. I'd like to think that I do. I hope that I do, but it also feels a little bit like to think this about myself, like, I don't know. Seems a little prideful, but we're getting there. She makes 10,000 decisions every single day. And even when she feels empty, there she is, still serving others. There's more there, but I think you get the point. So as I was reading through that, just checking things off the list, I really started to feel very down on myself. Like, why am I doing all of these things? And how am I supposed to stop doing all of these things? But ultimately, as I was reading through this post, I just started feeling like this is true of me, but what am I going to do about it? How is God really going to heal these things? Because these are hurts. To feel like you give and give and give and get nothing in return is a hurt. But is it true? Because what decision fatigue does to us, now I feel like I have to keep going and I have to keep making the decisions, but nothing that I do is right and I just have to keep plowing through. And ultimately, the line between truth and lie gets very, very blurred. When I don't take the time to step back from all of those things and really be discerning about what the highest priority is, what is really going to be the most beneficial in that time, what's really the next right step? Where do I go from here when I'm feeling this way? Which really begs the question, how do we overcome decision fatigue? I think the world wants to pull us in a direction to resolve this that doesn't always sit right with me. One of the most immediate answers that we may think of when it comes to decision fatigue and how we overcome it is to practice self-care, which is a completely buzzworthy word, and I am the first one to admit I have lots of opinions on it. Now, self-care is not the only way for us to overcome decision fatigue. In fact, one of the easier ways for us to overcome decision fatigue is to simply make fewer decisions, which ultimately is where family minimalism really comes into play for us. I don't have to figure out whether or not I have XYZ to be able to accomplish this because our family has what we need. Now, I also don't have to figure out where all of those things are most of the time because all the things that we have are the things that we need. So I'm not digging through cabinets trying to find this specific bowl or this one gadget that I need to do this job. I have a place for everything and everything pretty much in its place. The key for me has really been to automate as much as I possibly can through routines and reducing the number of things that we have in our home. And that is what I would call proactive self-care, which is what I talked about in a previous video, that sometimes decluttering or getting up and doing the dishes, balancing the checkbook, making the meal plan is the highest form of self-care that you can do in that moment. It sets you up for success in the long run. But what happens when so many things are out of whack, or we just have had additional stresses and burdens put on us that just feel too heavy to bear? Because there are times where doing the dishes isn't going to solve everything. That's where the idea of restorative self-care comes into play, which is what I absolutely needed to do today. So a long hot bath and just allowing for the weight of the world that I am so willing to carry to be lifted off of me for just a few moments so that I can put things into the right perspective. And the right perspective really is that I don't have to carry the weight of the world. I don't have to solve everybody's problems. I don't always have to be everywhere for everybody all of the time. I don't have to keep all of the things for all the people for all time. That's not my responsibility. Now, I do have responsibilities, but my chief responsibility is to cast my burdens on Him. So this idea of restorative self-care is really about refilling both our physical and spiritual tanks. Have you drank enough water today? Do you need to take a long, hot, quiet bath? Maybe it has to wait until the kids are in bed and you have to stay up just a little bit longer to do it. But in the end, it's going to be worth doing because if that is what relaxes you, that relaxation is going to recharge you to tackle all of the proactive things that you need to do to keep yourself going and really fill that ability and that capacity to make decisions again. So I'm going to leave in the description a link to get to our blog with the blog post that goes along with this video so that you will have a list of both restorative self-care and proactive self-care, because depending on the season and what's happening in your life, you may need one or the other and you just may need both. I'm so glad that you stopped by today. I really enjoyed our time together. And if you have not yet subscribed, I would love for you to do that. If you ring the bell button, you'll get notifications every time I upload a new video. And I love to hear from you in the comments. Like the video and let me know what are some of your favorite restorative self-care or even proactive self-care things that you like to do to refill your tank. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.